This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks again so much for being here on this Saturday. I'm Galen Etlin. The time now is 8 o'clock, and this morning on Sunrise, evictions and foreclosures are rising, leaving many with only a car or RV to sleep in. We're going to share our investigative team's search for solutions. Plus, two firefighters are recovering from a fire that destroyed 4 businesses in Portland. Crews explain why this fire is so unusual for the area. But first, Chris McGinnis is here with the weather. How's it going, Chris?
Well, a little cloudy out there this morning for starters, Galen. We'll give you the live look from our Rose City sky camera, and the cloud cover has certainly moved in this morning, at least for the folks west of the Cascades, right? And in fact, up in the North Oregon Coast Range, radar detecting a few sprinkles. It's not out of the question that the South Washington and the North Oregon coast see a couple very light rain sprinkles this morning. Otherwise, we are dry but cloudy. As you can see, the look from the Astoria column sky camera right now. Pretty cloudy day along the north coast. All right, it's 49 last check at PDX, 46 Beaverton, King City 44. Big picture across the state right now, generally in the 40s west of the Cascades to near 50 at the beach. It's crisp east of the mountains this morning, but you will enjoy a lot of sunshine east of the Cascades. The plan for today, a lot of cloud cover on the west slopes of the Cascades and pretty much everybody across western Oregon. A few sun breaks and daytime highs in the lower 60s. Galen, there is rain in the forecast tonight. I'll walk you through that coming up in a minute. But first,
we've got a traffic story that you're on top of. So for context here, before you can explain it to us, crews have started work on construction of Portland's new Blumenauer Bridge. And because of this, Chris, a 6-mile stretch of I-84 is closed, right?
Yeah, westbound I-84, the 6-mile stretch closed. Yeah. Eastbound, a section of that also closed. Here's the map showing precisely the closure. Eastbound I-84 is closed from I-5 out to Cesar Chavez Boulevard. And again, westbound I-84 is closed from the Gateway District, basically from I-205 all the way in to downtown. That closure could last until as late as Monday morning at 5 a.m. ODOT says that while PBOT's doing the work on the bridge, they're going to take advantage of this closure to get some additional stuff done.
We're got a lot of maintenance projects we're going to try to do in the area. We're going to be replacing some signs. We're going to be removing a lot of graffiti in the area. We're going to be making repairs around in here, and we're going to be doing some bridge inspections along in here too. So there's a lot of work that we're going to try to get done during the closure.
Meanwhile, about the Earl Blumenauer Bridge, this new bike and pedestrian bridge will offer a car-free route between the Lloyd District and the Central East Side. And although the major part, that big, huge span, is going in this weekend, there's still lots more work ahead to do. So the bridge itself won't be open until sometime next summer. If you want to learn more about that and the traffic impacts, you can text the word traffic to 503-226-5088. You'll get information and maps to help you plan your weekend around the closure and delays.
A lot of people rely on those roads. Chris, thanks so much for the update. All right, well, new this morning, in case you're just joining us here, Portland homicide detectives have been at the scene of a deadly shooting in North Portland. It's a look now at the scene there of intersection North Fessenden and North Newman, not too far from McCoy Park. This was all going down before 11:30 last night. And we don't have a whole lot more details, except we do know police responded and a man is dead. We'll keep you updated online and here on the air. All right, let's turn now to the homelessness crisis. The city of Portland faces a whole lot of challenges, and one of the most visible issues that you've probably seen is cars, trucks, and RVs parked or abandoned around town. They're often lined up along parks, in front of businesses, and outside of homes. As KGW investigative reporter Kyla Boshi found out, the problem may soon get worse, but there may also be a solution just down the road.
Broken down cars and RVs line the street next to Nick Johnston's home in southeast Portland.
I would say that it definitely takes a toll on us because we don't know who's going to be outside of our house.
He's compassionate, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
But after months of headaches, including trash, drugs, and all kinds of late-night chaos, Nick says he and others have had enough.
I know that our neighbors feel the same way that we do. You got to understand people's situations, but there's also a point where it's like, okay, our safety is at risk here. Yeah.
In the first 7 months of this year, Portland residents filed more than 3,800 complaints with the city about abandoned vehicles, illegally parked cars, and debris in the roadway. That's a 107% increase from the same period last year.
I don't see it getting any better.
Neighbor Jerry LeDuc, who's lived in the Lentz neighborhood for 40 years, argues this growing problem on our streets can't be swept away.
Really, it's just like the tide's coming in and the tide's going back out. When you see the garbage that's picked up, dropped off, picked up, cars, trucks, you name it. And then it never seems to totally end.
There is an alternative. Several cities, including Vancouver, have created safe parking spaces so people living in their cars or RVs have a safe and legal place to stay.
It's a lot safer than being out on the street, so at least for me anyways.
Michael Helms still has chalk marks in the tires of his RV after ringing up hundreds of dollars in parking tickets and being forced to move from one spot to the next.
It's hard to try to transition from trying to find a job and then just leaving your stuff out there because potentially it's either going to get towed or it's going to get ripped off or it's going to get broken into.
Vancouver's safe parking zone, set up at an old C-Tran bus transit center, holds about 50 cars, RVs, and trailers. There are portable toilets, hand washing stations, and garbage cleanup.
We want to keep it clean and keep it nice and everybody be happy about it, you know.
Residents must follow strict rules like no drugs or alcohol. The goal is to provide stability so people like Dale Moon can eventually find permanent housing.
Well, past year I've been going up from sleeping in a pickup in the cab to a camper and then to a camper to a motorhome.
In the short term, this safe parking area gives people a secure place to store their stuff.
Yeah, mine's the one with the pumpkin, of course.
Instead of spending all day looking for a place to park, they can focus on finding work or the support they need.
Yeah.
It also helps alleviate some of the stress between neighbors and strangers parked on their street.
You can't sleep very well because you never know when, at any time, someone can knock on your door and say, hey, you can't be here. You got to leave right now.
Similar programs have also been set up in Eugene and Beaverton.
What is it that makes this location desirable for you folks?
Well, it's quiet, it's sort of private, especially where our parking program is.
Dr. Vernon Baker, director of Just Compassion East Washington County, says there's a healthy waiting list for the 15 safe parking spots scattered across 5 locations in Beaverton.
We're seeing more and more people who are gainfully employed, but they just don't have enough to move into a house or to an apartment, so therefore they're living in their vehicles.
Baker fears the end of Oregon's eviction moratorium will force more people out of their homes and onto the street.
I think we're going to see a whole lot more people living in their vehicles.
Portland City Commissioner Dan Ryan had proposed using the vast Portland Expo Center parking lot as a safe parking space for cars and RVs, but Metro, which owns the lot, said no. Instead, the regional government offered use of a grassy ditch area that would take $1.5 million to redevelop. Talks are still underway.
It gets out of hand.
For neighbors like Nick Johnston, this problem can't be ignored. The mess outside his home needs to be cleaned up, and people living in their cars and RVs need a better spot to park.
I think that the residential areas need to be kept safe, and they need to be kept up to a certain level of cleanliness. Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, tomorrow TriMet is starting a 2-week max improvement project. Crews are replacing and resurfacing rails between Lloyd Center and Northeast 11th. This will affect the blue, green, and red line service in Northeast Portland. There will also be no red line service on the west side of town, and the green line won't run downtown either. Shuttle buses will be available instead. All right, here's an update now on that massive fire in southeast Portland that destroyed 4 businesses on Hawthorne this week. The fire burned for hours and sent 2 firefighters to the hospital with minor injuries. And the good news this morning, they've recovered. It's pretty remarkable when you consider this video here. Firefighters were blown back to the street by that smoke explosion you just saw, and we're going to show it again a few times. Chief Miller says they don't often see that kind of an intense fire event.
What changed there was how rapidly the fire progressed through the building. So when you see that video, all of that smoke and that fire that pushes out of the building was very violent and it was very quick. And when it happens like that, we are usually unable to react quick enough to it.
There was nobody inside the businesses during the fire and no other injuries in addition to those firefighters, so it's just remarkable. They are now investigating the cause and are not sure how long that could take. Well, for the first time in more than a decade, Halloween is back at Oaks Park. There's trick-or-treating for the kids and haunted houses if you're into that. Our Mike Benner has a preview, including a look at COVID protocols.
The Midway at Oaks Amusement Park was buzzing with activity Friday evening. In the crowd was Gabriel Gonzalez and his daughters.
They're so happy to be here. I think I'm going to have to do it every weekend.
You can't blame Gonzalez for being a little giddy. In addition to the attractions, kids can do some trick-or-treating. This is the first time in 15 years Oaks Park has been open this time of year.
This is our first haunted experience at Oaks Park. That's a walkthrough.
Perhaps the biggest draw this month
People's worst nightmare right there.
will be one of the 3 haunted houses.
I like this one.
The amusement park teamed up with Scaregrounds PDX to create the Oaks Park Scaregrounds. Just look at the setup. Spooky, isn't it?
We're so excited. You know, scare parks, scream parks are popular all over the country, and Oregon has not had one. So we are super excited to bring that amusement park and haunted attraction together for this area. It's something new for Oregon to try.
Gabriel Gonzalez will certainly try it, just not on this night. He plans to return with his family in the coming weeks.
This is a great place to be for everybody.
All right, you may be wondering about COVID protocols. We can tell you that everyone on the property, that includes guests and workers, must wear a mask at all times, regardless of vaccination status. And speaking of vaccines, we know that the actors in all 3 haunted houses will be vaccinated. Reporting in Southeast Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.